Please like and subscribe to our channel and press that notification bell. I was raised to turn into a covetous gold digger, however when you catch wind of my story you wouldn't pass judgment on me for my decisions. Hey, I'm Beth and, since I was born I frequently dozed in external in-room entryways, while my mother was working inside on such evenings. Basically mother had the option to get me a warm supper. Different evenings, we would break into individuals' homes, and when I say we, I mean me. Mother generally said I was a minor and couldn't go to prison, so she made me move through open windows around evening time and take anything I figured out a single opportunity. I coincidentally woke up this terrified young lady. She was going to begin shouting, however I'm a decent liar, and told her I was the tooth fairy. I said, in the event that you let anybody know that you saw me, I'll make every one of your teeth drop out. The next night I returned to visit her, this time with a little tooth fairy crown. I advised her to present to me some food from her refrigerator. We ate some corn pieces together, and afterward I inquired as to whether her mother likes to wear gems. She gestured, so I asked where it was covered up. She made a sign to follow her, and together we crept into her folks' room. However, when she opened the cabinet and it made that noisy clamor, her father awakened. What are you doing there? I'm helping the tooth fairy. Oh, it's the late evening, and returned mom's armband down. She slithered into her folks' bed, and I utilized my opportunity to snatch the wristband and creep out. I couldn't really understand in the event that it was worth a lot until I escaped the house. Really, at that time I saw that it was a genuine jewel tennis armband. We later sold it for $4,000, which was more than we've at any point had yet. Mother spent everything on drugs, so that somewhat sucked. Things kicked more regrettable when mom off dating one of her clients. Yes, we were permitted to remain in his condo, however mom began to totally lose it. I got up one morning and saw mother sitting and watching me with her eyes wide. I said, you're frightening me, mom, and you closely resemble your father. What? I figured you didn't have the foggiest idea who my father was. I realize we can go visit him at the present time on the off chance that you need. Well, I believe you're on drugs, however certain we should get some natural air. Right as we take off from the house, mother strolls over to a mother and her child hangs over the buggy and vomits right on the unfortunate, easily overlooked detail. The mother totally loses it and starts beating my mother with her satchel. I felt so terrible on the grounds that there was nothing I could accomplish for my mother. She likely required a clinician, yet I had no cash for one, so I just gathered my pack and left her, trusting that some time or another I could seek her some treatment. I chose to stroll into the most extravagant neighborhood of my city and thump on entryways. I'm searching for a task. I'll do whatever, I said, and this old woman showed compassion for me. Her significant other had simply passed on, and she'd probably been desolate. In the meantime I was a road kid, a savage. The lady gave me safe house and food, and in return I assisted a piece with the housework and looted her left and right. Had I been more brilliant, have treated her well and tried to get her legacy, yet I was a moron and got dependent on Easy Street. I spent $1,000 every month on garments alone and warmed up to other rich young ladies from my local. It was an extravagant life. However, when I turned 18, the old woman had enough of my way of behaving and tossed me out. I was reluctant to return into destitution and made a few inquiries, assuming any of different neighbors required a sitter or housekeeper. Sure, I was uninformed and not anybody's best option. However, I had heard reports that one of the neighbors was not coexisting with his significant other any longer, so I thumped on his entryway and said, hello neighbor, I'm truly deprived for a task. In light of the fact that my grandmother just tossed me out, are you searching for a sitter? No, not actually. Are you certain? On the grounds that I would remain for the time being to deal with your children and assist you with anything you need. I additionally heard tattle that you and your significant other have relationship issues and that she moved into an inn, so we should simply perceive how things turn out. He looked stunned, yet given me access his children were at that point snoozing, so he plunked down to drink a few wine and talk I made up misleads make him feel sorry for me, like saying I had been in and out of childcare for what seems like forever, yet I don't believe that was even vital. I mean, I was youthful and great looking, and he was in his 40s and disappointed with his better half. I immediately had him captivated by me. We hit the sack together, and I assumed I had made it at last a person with enough assets to deal with me. Yet following 7 days of us living respectively, he let me know he planned to attempt once more with his significant other. I answered, am I not sufficient for you? Gracious, I'm doing it stringently for my children. I don't maintain that they should go through a separation. Well, his better half moved back in, and she couldn't stand me. She advised me to quit wearing yoga pants and continued to advise her significant other to toss me out. She said they didn't require sitters. Sincerely, I don't have the foggiest idea about why a man would remain with a lady like her. She was overweight, old, and just griped. However, he yielded to her requests and tossed me out. I mean, he additionally leased me a one-room loft in the city where he covertly visited me despite his better half's good faith. Yet I actually felt like a peon. One time he vowed to take me out for supper on a Friday night, however dropped at last moment since his significant other made issues. I understood I couldn't simply be an escort, yet that I expected to wed a rich person. To be secure, I originally attempted to find a rich man at top-end bars, yet it didn't resolve. They previously had numerous young ladies around them, and numerous prettier than me, so I chose to rather get pregnant by my friendly benefactor. In the event that he had jokes with his ongoing spouse and me, he'd pick me over her any day, I thought. Yet his incongruity would have it on the day I took my most memorable pregnancy test, which came out bad. I had a handyman stopped by my home to fix the channel. He really considered asking me any designs for this evening. Definitely I'll go to an extravagant supper. Gracious God, how exhausting. You ought to accomplish something rather like let me take you out to a bar. I was unable to accept how sure this person was here. He was kneeling down fixing my sink, nevertheless playing with me as though I was beneath him. Well, the thing position are you working? He asked me. The blood surged right in front of me. I realized I was only a gold digger, and I was humiliated about it. Not your concern, I answered. Well, might I at any point return tomorrow? The sink isn't fixed at this point. Goodness, it's fixed. Yet I'm interested about you. Talk like a young lady from the roads, yet live in this pleasant spot. I need to realize you're mysterious. You know, when you some of the time simply coexist well with somebody. That is the way I felt with this person. His name was Tom, and he approached my condo the following day, where we continued to discuss the horrible families we experienced childhood, and he let me know his father was in a biker group, and one day he and one more person from his posse were requested to kill a biker from a matching pack. However, the objective ended up being a close buddy of his father, so his father took his weapon and took his pack sibling out rather than the objective. A while later, he needed to escape states with the son, since his old biker posse committed to remove his tattoo. I could rapidly tell that Tom and I shared loads of things. Practically speaking, our medication-dependent guardians, as well as we both grew up poor, and that shapes you with a particular goal in mind. When he took me to his condo, I saw cockroaches slithering across the floor, and he just had a sleeping cushion. Sure, I had experienced childhood in comparable terrible circumstances and didn't have any desire to return to it. However, close to Tom, I felt like I could act naturally. Cash didn't appear to be so significant any longer. When I let him know that I had a friendly benefactor, he even called me savvy for bringing in such pain-free income. He didn't pass judgment on me, and I before long understood that affection was more critical to me than financial security, so I dropped my friendly benefactor and began dating Tom. I was certain everything would be wonderful. What I didn't know was that sensation of being enamored contains you. Sure, Tom was a tomfoolery and magnetic person, yet in addition entirely unreliable and unambitious. We were unable to manage the cost of good food and needed to eat bunches of pasta and bread, which caused me to feel drained and sluggish. I as of late figured out that I'm gluten bigoted, and more regrettable was that Tom was constantly depleted after work. He returned home languid, and there was no enthusiasm or energy, so I parted ways with him. Fortunately, my old friendly benefactor needed me back, so at age 20 everything has returned to what it was previously. Please like and subscribe to our channel and get updates on a daily basis.